all the settlements that they want. And if they come together with a peace accord with Hamas and Hezbollah, then there will be war in Chicago. More. There will be more death all over the Mexican border. There will be death in Venezuela. There will be babies who don't have parents in South and Central America. The reservation will wake up one morning with more missing daughters unless there's war in the Middle East. There must be war in the Middle East. World War III is important, and all of us must pray for it. We must ask the Most High to bring it to pass. Everyone understands, right? Any questions? If not, I'm going to start rocking and rolling. Let me know, Marah, right? Matthew 24:6. Whenever you have it, I'm ready to rock. And someone just feed me the World War III questions online, all right?
Well, Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Read that again.
And you shall hear of wars and rumors of
now
wars.
Think about how many years ago Jesus Christ said this. He said this, my God, 2,000 years ago. He gave us a warning of something that was going to happen to help us. And what a glorious God we have to even give us a warning about a day like this and times like these. But he gave it to us. He gave it to us right here in the Bible. You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Is that not happening right now? That's the election is 20 days away. That is all you are going to hear about is war every day, war all the time. Everyone is terrified of it. Everyone wants a president that can stop World War III. That's who they're going to elect. They're going to elect someone that they believe will bring peace to the Middle East. They've been trying to elect someone that brings peace to the Middle East for about 30 years or 40 years. Every president promises that they will avert World War III, that they will stop World War III. You can't be so out. You have to want it. Jesus Christ said, you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. There's wars between the Palestinians and the Israelis. There's a possible war between South Korea and North Korea. There's wars between this country, possible wars between this country. You shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Go ahead.
God, sir. See that ye be not troubled.
Be what?
See that ye be not troubled.
The Lord said, see that ye be not troubled. What does the term troubled mean? Anyone know? What's today's term for trouble? Worried. Worried. That's why so many people want peace in the Middle East. That's why all of your black, so-called black leaders are praying for, the Palestinians, and they want to help the Palestinians. And that's why our oppressor wants to help the Israelis. Everyone wants there to be calm and quiet in the Middle East because they know that the Middle East is where World War III will take place. They know that's the valley of decision. That's the valley of Jehoshaphat in the Bible. And so because of that, they want everything calm over there. Christ said this, don't be worried.
Right.
Don't be troubled, man. Worrying is not a solution to World War III. That's not how you solve that problem. You solve your World War III problem by praying for World War III and preparing for it ahead of time. That's not worrying. Worrying makes you loot stores and commit suicide. You're going to see that coming soon. You're going to see tons of Edomites or so-called oppressors. They'll go out and kill themselves because they think World War III is coming. They'll commit mass suicides. Why? Because they worry too much. Because they're troubled all the time. Because they're afraid of a thing that is going to cause peace. There's going to be peace on earth because of World War III. Don't be troubled by it. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen. It's a good thing. Also, give me another precept where in Jeremiah, if I could, Yediah, where the wicked so-called man of God came from Israel and Jerusalem and said, this is a long captivity. That's the term you need, a long captivity. And I need the good shepherd, all right? Don't be troubled. World War III is coming. It's going to happen. I don't care who in the hell becomes president. It is going to happen. It's supposed to happen. War in the Middle East means the war stops in North Philly. It stops in Brooklyn. It stops in Harlem. It stops in Baltimore. That's what that means. All right? Don't be troubled. Don't be worried. Keep going.
Jeremiah chapter 29 and verse 28. But therefore he sent us in Babylon, saying, this captivity is.
I'm sorry, warrior. Not quite yet. Just hang on to it for me, please. All right? I'll finish up with Matthew 24. Whenever you're ready.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6 in the middle.
Everyone knows they can eat right now, right? You aware of that, Marah? Yes, sir. Y'all get it on.
For all these things must come to pass.
Why shouldn't you worry? Read that again.
For all these things must come to pass.
Come on, man. Why are you worrying about the Palestinians and how many of them over there dying? And how much rubble you got to dig under to find a Palestinian kid? Who cares? What difference does it make? Why are you worried about some synagogue over there in Israel getting, bombed? Or who cares about any of that? These things have to happen. Don't you see the world went on prospering while you died in Chicago and in Baltimore and in Mississippi? And while you died all over America, you died in Juarez. The world went on to prosper. The world didn't stop and make some big fund and campaign to end the violence in your neighborhood. Why? Because our oppressor knows as long as the violence happens among blacks and Hispanics, there will be no war among countries. They don't want countries to fight because countries fighting means that Christ is coming back. And that's what this entire thing is about. What do you want to learn about World War III? Want it, desire it, pray for it. When you watch the news, Commander General Yahanna watches the news, watching the prophecies climb, watching them stack and stack, because he knows that this must happen for God's children to be free. So many of you become suckers for peace, and all you care about is finding a way to have peace. You're a bunch of flower children and hippies. When any man of God would know, either they're going to fight over there or we're going to fight here. That's a fact. That's what George Bush said about the Iraqi war. He said, well, I had to invade Iraq so that we could fight over there and not have to fight in America. That's a quote from George Bush. And I understood it well because I know there must be World War III so that my brothers can stop killing each other in Memphis, so that my brothers can stop killing each other in prisons, in the prisons of California and in Texas and in border cities. I know there must be World War III or else my brothers will never have peace among each other. Everyone understands. You're not going to be worried about this anymore. You're not going to be afraid of World War III, scared to death. You're going to want it. You're going to ask God to bring it to pass. Does everyone understand? Go ahead.
Verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation.
Read that again.
For nation shall rise against nation.
For nation shall rise against nation. This world is so comfortable with your petty gang violence and your petty disputes that end up with children dead. They are very comfortable with that. They're fine with that. There will be no push to stop you from dying, ever. There will be no global campaign to end the death among Mexicans or South and Central Americans or among the brothers and sisters that live on the reservations. There will be no global campaign for peace in your community. And I understand. Nation must rise against nation. These countries have to fight. They have to get it on. And you should encourage it. You should encourage countries fighting each other. You should pray that North Korea invades South Korea. You should pray that South Korea invades North Korea. You have to want it. You have to desire it. Or else you don't love your people who die while there's peace in the Middle East. Well, there's peace over there and they make accords at Camp David. Your people die. Nation shall rise against nation. Keep going.
And kingdom against kingdom.
Forget about it. Kingdoms like Saudi Arabia. Oh, they're going to fight. They're going to fight the United Arab Emirates. They're going to go to war with each other. They're going to spill so much blood, the sand will be red. And it's a good thing. It's good for all of us. It's cleansing to this earth. There'll be so much peace among you and I once our enemies are fighting abroad. You and I will get along. You and I will share. I'm fine, warrior. You and I will share what we have. We'll come together in love and in unity. And we'll know every day that our enemies are killing each other, and we're not even there. Everyone understands. Keep going up. Whenever you're ready. Detroit ahead. I see you, Warriors. The water, Detroit. My God. Imagine growing up. Can Detroit hear me? Detroit, are you there?
Con, sir, we hear you.
Detroit, over in Detroit, have you become accustomed to violence throughout your youth in Detroit?
Con, sir.
Can you imagine being from Detroit and praying for peace in the Middle East? Can you imagine that?
Con, sir.
I mean, that's a ridiculous thing. To be from Detroit and to have a campaign to save the Palestinians, to save the Israeli people that were kidnapped. When you live in Detroit, can you imagine that? That's what this world thinks of us. This world thinks that we don't care about our own self-interest. This world thinks that we don't care about what benefits us. They think that they can rally us together to vote for whoever will bring peace in their neighborhood, that will bring peace in their house. Enough of that. All right. From now on, we're going to pray for World War III. I'm going to explain to you after this precept what World War III is. Now you know it has to happen. It must come to pass. Nation shall rise against nation. Kingdom must rise against kingdom. Now give me the second and the third woe shall come. You know what I want, you die. The second woe shall pass, and that's that.
So Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. The second woe is past.
Here's another precept, man. Think about how good the Most High God is to us. To give us precepts to warn us against something that everyone else will be shocked when it happens. When World War III begins, everyone else is going to be completely stunned by it. They won't be prepared for it, but you will be. There is a great war that's coming to this planet. There was a war in the past. At one time it was called the Great War. It later became to be known as World War I. World War I is when every nation on the planet went to war with each other. They chose sides up. There was I believe his name was what's this French Ferdinand. To my memory, the Archduke Ferdinand. He was assassinated, and when he was assassinated, I believe he was the king over Austria, or the Archduke Ferdinand. He was assassinated, and because of that, everyone speculated about who killed him. And so then all of the countries teamed up on what side they were on. If you supported this Archduke and you thought these countries killed him, then you were enemies of the countries that you thought assassinated him. And they all began to team up with each other. And who were allies? America, France, Great Britain. Give me some other ones. Those were the main allies in World War I. All right. Who were they against in World War I? They were against Germany. They were against Italy. Those were the main enemies in World War I. And they fought each other. And more people died on this planet than had ever died in history. That's where the whole myth of seances comes from. Sisters, you've heard of seances, right? Seances are it's a cultural phenomenon that happened after World War I, because every woman had a dead son or a dead husband or a dead family member, and people wanted to talk to their family members. And there were charlatans that would speak to your dead husband, speak to your dead son. And they got rich because people didn't know how to handle that much death. That's what happened after World War I. Then about 10 years later, this country called Germany under Adolf Hitler invaded Poland. First, he invaded the Rhineland, that's like right outside of Poland. Then he invaded Poland. And then he just kept going. And because he invaded Poland and invaded the land outside of Germany, Great Britain began to attack him. They began to attack Germany. Then Germany bombed Great Britain. And so now these two enemies are at war with each other over in Europe. Then what happened? Then on December 6, 1942, I believe, Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. And Japan was an ally of Germany and an ally of Italy. And because Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, which was an American military base, then America joined the war on the side of Great Britain and on the side of Free France at that time. then the entire country was at war, because every ally of America had to fight the allies of Germany. There wasn't, Australia was fighting in that war. Little Kiwi countries, New Zealand was fighting in that war. Every little countries in Africa were fighting in that war. Everyone fought in World War II. And then more people died than died in World War I. And it was a terrible thing. And Alexa, how many people died in World War II?
Numbers vary from 50 million to 55 million civilians and 21 million to 25 million military deaths, giving an approximate number of 71 million to 80 million total deaths in World War II.
That's what happened. 81 million people died in World War II. It was a terrible thing. Out of the rubble of World War II, there arose the greatest superpower ever, America. America was never got bombed, never had any fighting on American soil. America grew and grew and became, they went to the moon after that. About 20 years later, 15 years later, they were on the moon after World War II. They prospered. Well, this is what the Bible says. Now read it again, please.
The second woe is past.
The second woe is past. What does the term woe mean? Woe means destruction. There was the first woe when about 30 or 40 million people died. Then there was the second woe where about 80 million people died. The second woe is past. The second war is in the past. Keep going.
Behold, the third woe coming quickly.
Read that again.
Behold, the third woe coming quickly.
Behold, who knows what the term behold means? It's integral to this breakdown. Behold means look. Look. The third war is coming quickly. Look. Why look? Because there are prophecies happening that if you look at them, if you watch, you can know that this day is coming. It's close. It's close. And prophecies that even when I was in the truth young, when I was learning at the feet of Commanding General Yahanna, things I couldn't imagine would ever happen have happened. They've happened already. This third world's war is coming fast. It's coming quickly. And we're being warned of it. Please, Marah.
Sir, the term is the word Yahanna, which is where the character Ha comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That word behold is a attention drawer. It's not just like look and see, but it's like, oh, look at that.
Pay attention. Yeah, I wish you would. I mean, you should pay attention. It's so terrible. So many people are going to die. The Bible says that there is death coming that has never been seen since the foundation of the world. If you think 80 million people is something, you are slow to what's about to happen during World War III. There is going to be so much death. It's biblical. It's biblical. And we know about it. And we know it's going to happen. We know it's coming. And it's a good thing. It's good. The same way World War II was good for America, World War III will be good for Israel, for blacks and Hispanics. World War III will be the launch pad for our nation, the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Without World War III, you can just continue to die in Memphis, Tennessee. You can know that your children will have a future like your past. That's what's going to happen. But because of World War III, your children will have a better future. Everyone understands. All right, what's next? Give Trinidad a hand. Can Trinidad hear me? Trinidad, can you hear me? Let me know when he's ready. Give me Trinidad, can you imagine praying for peace in the Middle East while you live in Trinidad and suffer poverty and death? Can you imagine doing something like that? It's a ridiculous concept. I don't even understand how black leaders ask black people to be against, to stand for the Palestinians. I don't even understand how you have the gall to ask them. You know where they come from. You know what they've lived in. You want them to what, march for Palestinian peace? That's what you want from them. They I guess they can march. They don't have a job. They can't feed their children. I guess they have nothing to do other than to march for the Palestinians. We want war in Palestine. We want war in the Middle East because that war creates peace on earth. Yeah. Well, thumb me out, please. See me one more.
All the poor blacks and Latinos that suffered from it in Florida and Georgia, all they did was give them $700.
Oh.
The excuse was there's a war over there in Ukraine,
You kidding?
Russia, there's a war over there.
Robots out. I know when I saw those robots, Elon Musk brung out. He said they can watch your children, they can bartend, they can dance. You see the one dancing? Oh, there's one a robot that just dances. He's dancing. There's one bartending, and there's one that can babysit you. And I looked at that and I say, finally, he knows. He is a marketing genius, and he knows really white people just want a slave. That's their desire, to have a slave, to have someone who has no thought of their own existence, their own safety, and only cares about his master. And so Elon Musk is going to sell you a slave. Sell you a slave in a few years. We cannot behave like that. We have children. We have a land of our own. We have a future that's greater than our past, and it cannot happen unless World War III happens. Give me what I asked for earlier. Hold on, please.
We got a question online.
Please.
Brother said, may I the one?
Of course.
In the kingdom, plumbers and electricians work on the Sabbath. Is there provision for water leaks and power outages?
One more time. In the kingdom,
Will plumbers and electricians work on the Sabbath? Is there provision for water leaks and power outages?
in the kingdom, plumbers and electricians, is there, meaning will people have water and electricity in their house? Is that what he means?
He's saying, will plumbers and electricians work?
I'll raise you one. One day soon, there's going to be war in the Middle East, and that war is going to drag every country in the planet into fighting in the Middle East, into the land of Israel. And then there's going to be nuclear war. Nuclear war, the one you all are terrified of, the one you've thought about since you were a child. That nuclear war is going to happen in the Middle East. Once that war is over, the people who were taken so that they would never be harmed at all from that war are going to come back down on the planet Earth. We're going to build a society. And in that society, slaves will make sure that your water is running. Slaves will make sure that your every need is provided for. If you can face World War III, pray for it. Ask the Most High for it. You will never have to worry about water or electricity again. It won't be your problem. That'll be the problem of the slave whose responsibility it is to bring that waterfall that spills over a mountain into your land, to irrigate your farms and to feed your flocks. Water and electricity will be someone else's problem. If you can behave yourself like a man that knows the end is near. Everyone understands. That's the kingdom of heaven. It's hard for us to understand it because we think we're going to be electricians in heaven. I get you. I understand. I'm one of you. You think, well, I got to be to work on 9 a.m. How am I going to go to heaven? That's how terrible things are here for us. You think, well, Christ got to come back soon because I have to be at work at 7 a.m. in the morning. No, you don't. If World War III happens, you don't have to be at work. You don't have to become an electrician. You don't have to be anything. You can sit and benefit from the good deeds that you did while you were here. Who else does that? Our oppressor. He's not an electrician or a plumber. He sits and benefits over because he went through World War I and World War II, and he conquered the planet. Someone else will handle those things for you in the kingdom, brother. Just make sure you don't get high. Just make sure you don't eat pork, shrimp, or crab, or lobster. And make sure you keep your oath in the Israelite school of UPK. And the Most High God will provide for everything else in the kingdom. All right? Go ahead. Not quite. Not quite. Give me Zephaniah 3:8. No, I'm sorry. You're right. Give me the Good Shepherd now.
more cities. A lot of brothers getting that.
You got it?
Just got in Houston, got Chicago.
All right, Houston, Chicago.
Austin, got Louisiana, and
Give headquarters, Louisiana, Austin a hand. Can Chicago hear me?
Sir,
Chicago, can you hear me?
come on with Khan, sir.
Have you heard that black leaders are telling you to support the Palestinians, pray for them, and to pray for the hostages in the Middle East? Have you heard about that?
Come on with Khan, sir.
How many cousins and family members do you know throughout your life been killed?
Oh my God, I can't even begin to count all the ones since I grew up here in Chicago a great portion of my life. I got memories of going away over the summer my freshman year, and brothers that I went to school with not coming back. 14 years old, getting unalived over the summer, cases of mistaken identity and drive-by shootings and things like that. So I got cousins, like you said, who've been in the street and were unalived, best friends who didn't make it into their 20s, so I've never heard the block leaders or the organizers out here or the religious leaders ever say a word about remembering them and acknowledging their lives.
Well said. Well said. We have to pray for war in the Middle East. We have to pray for World War III. We need it. You understand? We need it. Things cannot continue the way they are. This peace is killing us. This peace is killing us. Please continue.
John, chapter 10, verse 11. I am the good shepherd.
This is Jesus. These words are written in red. Jesus Christ said, I am the good shepherd. You know what a shepherd is, right? A shepherd is that man that watches over a flock of sheep. He has a big staff in his hand. He's in the mountains with these sheep. These sheep are in danger because they're in the mountains. There are bears and lions everywhere that want to eat his flock. But he's a good shepherd. He's a good shepherd. Continue.
God, the good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep.
What does the good shepherd do? Read that again.
Giveth his life for the sheep.
The good shepherd gave his life for the sheep. That's who we serve, Jesus Christ. That's who Commanding General Yahanna serves, and which is why Commanding General Yahanna has always been preparing us for World War III, because he follows Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is the good shepherd. The Bible also says that the good shepherd, when he sees that the wolf is coming, he protects the sheep from the wolf. Commanding General Yahanna has always been trying to protect us from people that would influence us to be against World War III, because that's going to cause us to lose our lives. We have to encourage World War III. We have to want it to happen. We have to pray for it to happen, because otherwise we lose our lives. Everyone understands. And I'm sure Louisiana, are you there?
Come on, sir.
Louisiana, what has life been like for you down there living in Louisiana?
Nothing short of horrible, sir. I watched, I had a chance to be around the so-called mom and pop stores in the black community. I saw it all crumble under the crack epidemic, sir. So, it was horrible.
The crack epidemic. How could I forget, brother? Well said. I almost forgot about the crack epidemic. Can you imagine the people that have lived through the crack epidemic out on Facebook and TikTok praying for Palestine, praying that the hostages be let free? That's your concern? You are one of Elon Musk's robots. That's what you are. You're an Elon Musk robot. You're something that is made to serve someone else. God would have you be different. The Most High is Jesus Christ, and he's a good shepherd. He's going to protect us from the coming death. And there is death coming like you just can't believe, like you just cannot believe. I believe that's it, you die, unless you think there's more. Give me the other one I asked for. Let me give you the concept of what preachers like who is constantly trying to influence black people to stop World War III. Tavis Smiley, Jesse Jackson. Well, he don't really do much anymore. Lord be with him. What's the other cat's name? T.D. Jakes, Kamala Harris. Donald Trump, I'm missing one, Al Sharpton, any preacher, they all, they don't want war in the Middle East. They want them to get along in the Middle East. They want them to come. They want a two-state solution so that they don't have to fight in the Middle East. But meanwhile, they expect blacks and Hispanics to stay second-class citizens forever. They never ask for a two-state solution for us. All I hear all day is that the Palestinians and the Israelis need a two-state solution. They need for the Israelis to have a land and for the Palestinians to have their own land so that they don't fight each other. Meanwhile, when have they ever said that blacks and Hispanics should get our own state, that we should be able to be separate? They want us to integrate. They want us to join our oppressor, but they want the Palestinians to get their own country. You are an Elon Musk robot. You're made to serve another man, but you don't have any concept of what benefits your own people. But Jesus Christ is a good shepherd. He's a good shepherd. He protects us. And he sent Commanding General Yahanna to pray every day for World War III. Can you imagine how many years Commanding General Yahanna has been praying for World War III? Before you were ever goddamn born. He's been praying for it and praying for it, knowing that that was the only way that blacks and Hispanics could live. What do you have, brother? So now I'm going to read about your preacher, your reverend, or the person that you're going to vote for. This is what they think. Go ahead.
Jeremiah 29, verse 28. For therefore he sent unto us in Babylon, saying.
So this is when the Israelites were in slavery in Babylon, right? So these men came from Jerusalem, I believe, and they said this. Go ahead.
This captivity is long.
They said this captivity, this is a long captivity. You're going to be here a long time. Keep going.
Build ye houses.
Do what?
Build ye houses.
Because you're going to be here for so long, build a house. Build a house here. Keep going.
And dwell in them.
And live in that house. Go ahead.
And plant gardens.
Go ahead.
And eat the fruit of them.
And eat the fruit of those gardens. Go ahead.
And Zephaniah the priest read this letter.
Now Zephaniah read the letter that came from the government of Israel at that time. He said, well, we here in hell. We're here in hell in Babylon. And our own leaders are telling us, you're going to be there a while. So just make your peace there. Get comfortable there because you're going to be there a long time. Continue.
Zephaniah the priest read this letter in the ears of Jeremiah the prophet.
So Zephaniah, who was a priest, a man from the tribe of Levi, the chosen people of God, he went and read this in the ears of the prophet of God, Jeremiah, at that time. Keep going.
Verse 30. Then came the word of the Lord unto Jeremiah, saying, send to all of them of the captivity, saying, thus saith the Lord concerning Shema the Nehemanite, and because that Shema have prophesied unto you, and I sent him not, and he calls you to trust in a lie.
Meaning this prophet, this so-called prophet of God, he prophesied something that God did not say. God never wanted us to be comfortable here. He does not want that. That's what Martin Luther King wants. That's what your reverend wants. He wants you to think about yourself like you are an American, like you are a Mexican, like you are a Haitian, like you are a Guatemalan. He wants you to think that you are just, you're a Puerto Rican. That's who you are. You make your peace there. You get comfortable there. But God did not say that. That's not what the Most High God said. Keep going.
Because that, verse 32, therefore thus saith the Lord, behold, I will punish Shema, the Nehemite, and all his seed. He shall not have a man to dwell among this people.
The Most High God, because he said it's going to be a long time, plant a garden, build a house, and live in it, the Most High cursed him from ever having children. He was never going to have children again because you cannot put that mindset in a people that yearn to be free, a people that need freedom. So if we don't get World War III, what do we get? The next crack epidemic, the next HIV epidemic, the next gun violence epidemic. So then if this world is not going to come to an end, does this one keep going? It just continues like this forever? God didn't say that. We're all here, and we live here in America and in Mexico and Trinidad, and we live all over the world. But we live here like people yearning to go home. And that is what you have to do. You have to be in America, not like I'm an American citizen. I live here. I'll become a Christian because that's what Americans do. I'll go vote because that's what Americans do. I'll just do what everyone else does. Hey, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. You can't do that. You're going to have to behave like a person who is yearning to be free. A person that is yearning for your own land. Please, Marab.
That is a perfect example when that damn crazy sovereign. I'm a sovereign citizen. I don't need to show you my ID. I need to get my LLC.
Amazing. It's an amazing. Yeah, give him a hand because he's telling the truth. Yeah, a sovereign. Like, can you imagine thinking that, I'm a sovereign citizen. I have rights. I have the same rights as a white man has. The Constitution, George Washington. It's a lot here. George Washington. You're not him, Mark. Okay, you're George Jefferson, but you're not George Washington. All right, you don't have the rights that they have. Their rights come from their ability to kill people, not from constitutions and letters and bills and laws. Their rights come from their ability to kill someone and for it to go unpunished. That's where their right is the right of might. You understand? Their strength is why they're able to do what they want, not because of the Constitution or any law at all. Their might is what makes them right. Everybody gets it, please.
Crazy sovereign citizen. A non-sovereign citizen, but was an actual white man, told a child to stop. Then a purple group said that child should have stopped for the non-sovereign white man.
Give him a hand. Yeah, he's speaking about the IUIC, the Purple Pigs. They were on the side of George Zimmerman when that incident happened, and they said that Trayvon Martin should have stopped when George Zimmerman told him to stop. They are Elon Musk robots. You understand? But here tonight and here all over the world, under Commanding General Yahanna, he's taught us about Jesus Christ, and because of that, we want World War III to happen. We should be praying for it. As the time gets closer, pray for it, man. You turn the news on and you hear about it, pray for it. Pray that North Korea and South Korea get it on. Pray that they fight. Pray that there's nuclear war. That the most terrible thing that you could imagine, pray that it happens, because in doing so, the terrible thing you've been going through your whole life will finally be over. Because you've been going through something that you could write a book about. You could write white people would write a book about your life. They'd have a New York Times bestseller if they went through what you went through. If you don't want World War III, then you want the continuation of today's hell. Everyone understands. All right, let me go on. Give me Ezekiel. Give me Zephaniah. I'm sorry. Isaiah 54 and 16. Well, thumb me out. Please see me one more time.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire.
Ooh-wee. The Lord said, I have created the smith. A smith is a blacksmith. A blacksmith is someone that used to exist a long time ago that would make weapons. He would make horseshoes as well, things like that. And the coals were because he had to make fire. The fire had to get very hot so he could stick metal in fire, melt the metal, and then shape the metal. The Most High God said he made the smith. This war that you see bubbling and burning in the Middle East, God made it up. That's where it comes from. God made the current situation in the Middle East. World War III is going to happen in the Middle East, where every nation on the planet will come down into the Middle East, fighting over land, fighting over oil, fighting over hostages, fighting over Palestinian babies who have been killed, fighting over something. And they'll get down in that Middle East and they will fight each other. As they fight each other, someone will use nuclear weapons to win that war. Then the other countries will use nuclear weapons to combat theirs. And that's World War III. World War III is it's a war that's fought with nuclear weapons. America has never had a war where they did not use the weapons that they have made. Never. In World War I, they used mustard gas. They used chemical agents in World War I. They used them. They used chemical warfare was used a ridiculous amount in World War I. In World War II, what did they use in World War II? The hydrogen bomb and the atom bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They dropped those. Listen, they dropped hydrogen bombs when the war was won. You understand? Meaning, for you, those of you that don't know, World War II was happening. It was going on for about three and a half years. Germany had surrendered. Adolf Hitler committed suicide. Now there was only war in the Pacific. That's it. They won. They were winning. The Japanese people were about to surrender. They sent letters to America saying, let's negotiate a surrender, because they could not win. They could not win because Germany had surrendered. Mussolini had been hung. In Italy, it was only Japan left that was fighting. They won Africa. Japan was alone fighting all the allied powers of America. Japan, the Emperor of Japan, sent letters to America saying, let's sue for peace, which is an old way of saying, let's negotiate peace. America read the letter under Truman, President Truman, read the letter and said, well, we've been working on this bomb for about 2 years, though. We got it about right, and we're not going to know if it works unless we use it. And then they also said, we have the Russians who are our allies. Russia and America were allies during World War II. We have to show the Russians that they better not step up at the end of this and try to take land. They were working on it. They had it. They had to do it just to know that it worked and to scare any other possible future enemies. They dropped a bomb on Hiroshima, I believe, first. Was it Nagasaki? Hiroshima first. Alexa, how many people were killed at Hiroshima?